Welcome to Talking of Business, guys. Today we have a couple of topics for you guys. We have Think Tank Thursday. We will answer a small business question. As well, we'll be discussing about how to advertise for an event. Here's the show. Alrighty, guys. Welcome to Talking of Business. I am your host, Jordan Disberger, joined by me, as usual, with my dad, my co-host, Russell Disberger. How you doing, Dad?
I'm doing well this morning. And you, Jordan?
I'm doing well. I was listening back to some of our recent podcasts and the way that you respond to things and the way that I respond to things. And then I was watching people interview on the TV, and I started to think that my responses when people say things, I usually try to give them affirmation or say, yes, good, absolutely. But everyone else that flows well won't respond that way. They will say a full sentence immediately after, whereas I would typically say absolutely, and then I will say the next thing. So just a retrospective of our recent podcasts. That's something I'm going to try to do.
Well, so are you saying you should not affirm the person in communication?
I think you should, but you can do it in the following sentence that you say. So, for example, yesterday we had our guest Michael on, and I was listening to myself, and I would say absolutely yes, and then I would take a pause, and then I would say whatever I was saying next. But it would be somewhat related. It wouldn't skip over the acknowledgement of what they said. It would play on what they said. I think other interviewees, and just really when you're having a normal conversation with someone, you're not like, absolutely, yes, absolutely. That's more of like how you respond when your child's nagging you and you're not really listening. And so maybe it's just me because, you're your own personal your biggest critic. I hope that you're your own biggest critic. There's a lot of people who have
Being self-aware is key.
That's right. And so anyway, I like self-correction, and so I noted that for myself, and just wanted to share that. I know it doesn't really answer how I am, but
No, but
mind.
it's nice from a leadership perspective that you're looking at how to respond. And I would absolutely agree with what you're saying.
Right there is a moment where I would be like, absolutely, yeah. So I'm not gonna do that, even though I more or less did. Well, how are you doing, Dad?
You already did that. Let's go on to
Did I really? All right. So our first topic, I really didn't think I asked how you were. All right. Well, I'm glad you're doing well. All right. So our first topic, we have a unique problem from a listener. I will read the prompt, and then my dad and I will offer up our advice. So the problem states, I am the majority owner of a 60/40 owned business. My partner was hospitalized with a brain condition that they don't think they will ever recover from. No ability to function adequately. They were fine one day and the next they are not. They have 10 to 12 full-time employees, 2 part-time. They both had salaries. It's an S Corp business. This individual thinks that they need to move on from their ill business partner, and they have cash in the bank, and their revenue over the last year was $2.5 million. Of course, with 10 to 12 full-time employees.
Who is 60% and who is 40?
The way it's phrased sounds like this individual is 60%.
The one that's asking the question.
Correct.
Okay.
So my answer to this question is, so in your S Corp, you should have kind of a clause of who
bylaws.
Yeah, that there should be bylaws, and it should state who these assets would go to. And so if this person who owned 40% of the business is no longer able to operate or make decisions, someone else should have power of attorney or something over them to handle their assets and the things that they own.
There's two things within that statement. There's the employee,
Mhm.
and his role was in sales, the one that's disabled.
Right, and I didn't say that. Sorry. The person who is injured or ill was sales, and the other person is operations.
So the person that is in sales, you have the employee perspective, and then you have the ownership perspective. From an employee standpoint, an owner can be fired, removed if their inability to do a job. Even in a small business, a lot of times people blend that together. So you need to understand that ownership does not guarantee employment. And if you're hospitalized and there's no chance of recovery for the good of anyone and the other employees, you would need to replace that gentleman. Now, from an ownership of the assets in the business, his estate can still participate, or he can still participate. The injured individual, she could participate in the profits. Now, if we need an active board of directors, a lot of times your bylaws should have in there if you cannot make a participate due to, and then they list a number of things. But if you just got a cheap set of bylaws off of the internet and you haven't really thought through that, you may be stuck with them. But if you're the majority shareholder, you should be able to force the buyout of the other individual if you want to. But if you want to support their family, they can still participate as owners. You're just running the entire company.
Or potentially, if you do not have the ability to pay off the value of the 40%
That's
of
right. I mean, you can work out any sort of arrangement. Say, we'll buy 10% of your shares for the
right.
next 4 years,
Right.
whatever it is.
I would agree that there are two paths, that there are two separate items here. The first is the employee perspective. It sounds like this individual has come to the resolution that they need to move on from this individual. So you need to hire sales. Another note that they added in here is that their revenue is going to go way down if they don't have sales. So you absolutely need to hire someone who has sales. As for the salary that you guys would pay each other each year, that person's no longer doing that work. Therefore, they would not make the salary. As far as the asset goes, again, you could value the business. You could figure out what 40% of the company is really worth.
They don't have to buy them out.
You don't have to, but you could do that, and you could explore that if that is something that you're wanting to do. But there are two different sides to that.
Right.
There you go, affirming me in that one. I'm just kidding.
No, but
All right.
you've nailed it.
All right, that's Think Tank Thursday for you guys. All right, so our next topic is how to advertise an event. So, Dad, my first question to you with that is, have you been a part of advertising for any events? And if you have, are there any that you'd like to share with us?
Well, so I've co-developed a lot of executive education, emerging leader programs, things of that nature. I've also developed many workshops over the course of multiple days in which I had to attract business leaders, employees from around a region to attend. I probably have done about 40 of these over the last 10 to 20 years. And so, yes, I have done that a lot.
So these are fairly niche events that you put on, attracting C-suite executives, managers, people who really want to find value in that. Which attracting a specific niche is honestly something that is very, very difficult to do. And so I would like to hear some of the strategies that you use to advertise that event and target those C-suite individuals or the target demographic. So what kind of strategies did you guys execute in advertising for these workshops and events?
So once you know your target audience, you look at the referring agents that know these people. and I'd reach out to them for sponsors. So normally, let's say if it's businesses, I go to CPA firms, lawyers, and banks, and sometimes insurance agents. Those four different companies deal with that target audience all the time. They also know a lot of individuals. So to promote it, one of the things that I would actually do is say, hey, put your logo, your brand, and be part of this, and buy into it. But in exchange, what I want you to do is also send out an email telling everybody about this great event that you guys are co-hosting along with me. And then I go through the agenda and everything. And so now, rather than just me doing digital social media and all that, I've actually engaged all my sponsors to send out emails and broadcast and hand out flyers within their business, in addition to the digital marketing and whatnot that I did.
Right.
And the Chamber of Commerce, in all of my cases, they're another great partner that I worked with, and they referred a lot.
Not only leveraging your sponsors or your partners for that partnership there, but also leveraging their contacts and all of their customers that they've dealt with over time, which you analyzed and identified those customers as being in your niche as well, or at least some of them, and that this would be relevant content for them to receive, and that these partners and sponsors would gladly post as additional content and say, hey, look at what we're doing, look at the development that we're putting on. So it's a win-win for both sides. I think that's a very smart tactic for putting.
And then some of the bigger employers that I know will be coming, I might ask them if they know of any of their suppliers or other business owners that they hang out with. Could they also maybe invite them to come? But I leverage referrals enormously, and I develop part of my strategy to fill it by giving them whatever they need to help me promote. And then my marketing and social media, like I said, it has to support them, and then their logos and everything needs to be splashed everywhere.
I agree with that. Switching veins on that a little bit. So I work on some larger scale events that there's still a niche to it, but we're not targeting, 30, 40 people to come to a workshop. We're trying to get as many people.
I'm talking about 500, 600. I know the event you're talking about is thousands.
Correct. Yes. And so giving two different examples here. So I have advertised for smaller workshops, as well as I have these much larger events. And so there is one very large event right now that I do advertising for, and we are expecting about 12,000 people to attend this year. It's a 3-day festival, playing music in the park, lots of activities, vendors going on. And we do planning all year long. We start our advertising efforts really in early spring, and we tease the headliner and some of the themes that we have going on for our event. But their overall marketing strategy is very solid. They partner with radio stations, and not just any radio stations. They partner with radio stations that play the music that is relevant to what they're going to be playing at the festival.
So the target audience.
Exactly. And so similarly to you, they're leveraging one of their partners that has a massive audience. Of a radio station has a big listener base, and if what you're selling is what they're already consuming, you're going to be able to convert those people to at least garner interest. There are some deer that are running across my yard right now. Anyway, yes, you can garner interest there. So they do that partnership as well. And then we have this is an annual event. People have come to expect it in the local community. So just by having our base of attendees from years prior and being able to advertise to them with internal marketing, with emails or social media or other smaller events that we put on to build up the event. We're able to bring those individuals back to attend the event again and again, year after year. One of the other things that we do is the Google and the Facebook ads. Those allow us to reach a little bit beyond what we've been able to do before. And we have seen year over year growth in the overall attendance by doing those. One of the most important strategies with those is our remarketing or retargeting ads that we put on. So if someone comes and visits this event website or the event Facebook or Instagram page, they get cookies on their web browser. And now
explain to the people that don't know what a cookie does. You hear about them and you get told to wipe them periodically, but first of all, what is a cookie?
So it is a circular edible item that is made with wheat and flour and sugar.
The digital cookie.
So the digital cookie, it is basically a bit of code that is attached to whatever browser you're on. And so as you go website to website, it, depending upon the level of the cookie, it can send data to the original source of the cookie. And so when you visit our websites, you are getting a cookie on your website, and it will track your behavior on that site, and it will communicate that information back to the site. And as long as you do not clear your cookie or have cookie blockers or are within the or outside of the duration of time, so some cookies only last 30, 60 days, it's basically a sticker that gets put on you as you surf the web. And if you ever come back to that same website and you have that sticker on you, they recognize you and say, hey, this person was here before. And so when you go on Facebook and you get a Facebook cookie on you and you've already been on a website, they're going to, if you do remarketing strategy, you're going to see more and more of those ads. So if you've ever clicked on a product and now you're seeing ads for it everywhere, that's because that individual is using cookies. And so we do that for our events as well. This other organization that we do the large event for, again, it follows very similar strategies to what you have, but they go beyond just working with their direct partners and sponsors that they use. They actually go and they find even more relevant businesses or organizations that at least share the same values with them. And oftentimes those businesses are willing to just post up the event or at least share that the event is going on.
And your event's free, is it not?
This event is free, which makes that a little bit easier going and saying, hey, this is a big event. It's a community coming together, and it's very, very community focused. Community is actually one of their values. And so going and pushing that and then doing big things in the community to improve it is very helpful. So I think that is some good advice that you guys can use if you are wanting to advertise an event now or in the future, whether you're targeting a very small niche or you're trying to get as many people there as you possibly can. You still want to find that target demographic, regardless of how many people you're wanting to get there. Do you have anything else to add, Dad?
Well, I mean, so again, it sounds like the referrals, leveraging your sponsors or your referring agents that might share your values, let alone the same clientele, would be important. And then you have all your digital arena that you talked about, reusing your Rolodex, or the old adage, the history of people that have come in the past, to let them know that it's coming out again. You also leverage social media to blast it out. Is there anything that's unique or new that you're doing this year that you haven't done in the past in hopes to create even a bigger audience? Or have you developed a formula that seems to work?
We like to try something new.
You're muted.
I am muted? I don't think I'm muted.
I found this on the web for is there anything that's so unique or new that you're doing this year?
That's why you were muted.
Obviously, I definitely didn't change anything. We do new things every year. Whenever we run advertising or marketing, we're always trying to do something new because we don't want to stay the same and stay stagnant. One thing that we are doing new is to grow that, as you said, Rolodex of attendees from years past. We don't always collect all of the information because we're not selling physical tickets. It's people showing up for free to a park, and the only way we can get contact information is if they readily give that up. And so one thing that we're doing new this year is we are doing a giveaway, and the way to enter the giveaway is to subscribe to our mailing list, follow us on social media so that we can grow.
What's the giveaway? Backstage passes or something?
So I've always pushed for that, but they work on the contract with the headliner so early on in the year that's they're not in tandem and a well-oiled machine enough to go and ask for things like that. So it's never that. This year they're giving away $250 worth of swag, event apparel that you can also buy at the event if you don't win. Last year was pretty cool. They won a signed guitar from the headliner, but the way that they did it last year, as opposed to the way that we're doing it this year. This year it's all digital. They know all the winners before the event actually happens. The way we did it last year is we had people enter in a similar fashion, but if you weren't there and they were not there when they announced the winner, it was somewhat embarrassing because live on stage we're giving away this signed guitar and the person was not there. So
you have to resolve the issue by notifying the winner to be present.
But I will tell you that did work to grow our subscriber base by quite a bit. So it's also huge. There's also marketing that needs to be done the day of the event. Now you've got your tens of thousands of people there. You're never going to have all of those people to share one single message. So you also need to make sure that if you want to tease next year's event or...
I have an idea for you. You ought to develop a place where everyone can post up their photos from the event and share the love, and then have in there the ability that you guys can reuse it. But if everyone's sharing their pictures, it would allow you to track everyone and find out the activities. It could create a lot more of a buzz and make the event seem longer and a bigger deal.
Yeah, there are a number of apps that can allow us to do that. One thing that we propose doing this year to track that is to encourage everyone to use a common hashtag, which won't be as used if it's not posted up on like the big TV or a banner, right? Which I think it's too late to do that given that the event is in 2 days.
I don't know. You can still pull it off.
Well, maybe we'll try. We've done things last minute before, but
you're Jordan Disberger. You can pull anything off.
There's so many moving parts. Anyway, that's all we got time for today, guys. So subscribe to us on YouTube, on podcasts, whatever you listen on. Like us on Instagram, TikTok. We're gonna have a website soon, and we'll have a new guest next week, and we'll tease who that is later once we figure out who it is. Thanks for listening to the show, guys.